Well. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 163rd edition of Speaking of Zane, October the 3rd. Wow, already in October 2021, October, last quarter of the year. Wow, has really flown. I think we say that every year, but time does seem to fly, especially the older you get. I think that I'm starting to realize that. But let me welcome some folks in here. Good crowd assembling. Thank you all for being here. You know that I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your Sunday just to listen to me talk about Zane and other things. And um, don't think that you're not appreciated. We got Steve Shirley in there up in the Omaha area. We got Ken down in Central Florida. Hey, Ken, hope all is well in the new house. Got my cousin Toby down in the Ocilla, Georgia area. Got Katie up in Michigan. Matt's up in Michigan. Oh, Toby's listening in the car. Okay. We got Daryl up in the Midwest, up in St. Louis area. Welcome, one and all. Good to have you here for Speaking of Zane. Well, let's see what is going on at the fabulous McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. Well, let's see. Lori got home. So Lori had I guess about a week and a day or so, retreat to her childhood friend Karen's house, and they, judging by the Facebook posts and all the photos they took, it looks like they had a wonderful time. They got to see a lot of sights. Lori said they took a lot of pictures, a whole bunch of pictures, and Lori flew back home yesterday, and I picked her up in the afternoon, about 4:30 or so. So the little grandkids were waiting on her. Everett ran up to her and gave her a big old hug, and I know that was a good feeling for sure. Let's see, my Aunt Mary's in there. Hey, Aunt Mary, I hope Uncle Jerry is doing well. I know he had a little dip there a couple weeks ago. And there's my buddy Dan Jeffers down near the Tampa area, and Brenda Lusk up in Michigan. So we got a pretty good sized crowd today from all over the country listening in to Speaking of Zane, the 163rd edition with no end in sight. But yeah, so Lori's home. What do we got going on this week? I don't even know. Normal week. I think a couple weeks from now we'll be going down to Florida for a week. Just totally disconnect and go down to my Warriors place. That will be fun. But we had, yeah, I saw that, Toby. Yeah, your brother and sister-in-law got baptized this morning. Amen. I saw those pictures that your mom posted. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, speaking of that, we had a tragedy in our church family down in Savannah. The pastor that came on board after we left and moved back here to Atlanta, the Doyle family, they had a tragedy in their family. Their youngest little daughter was killed tragically in an accident at home yesterday or the day before. Just a terrible thing. So keep the Pastor Doyle, keep his family in your prayers. Can you imagine? And well, Lori and I know firsthand they have an awesome church family down there to surround them. Southside Baptist Church, which was our church in Savannah. But yeah, I was like, when I saw that news, my stomach just sunk. It's just terrible. There's my Aunt Cindy. Hey, Aunt Cindy over in Alabama. Thank you, Ken, for that. All right, let's see. The hat of the week. The hat of the week, if you're a baseball fan, probably no surprise that the Atlanta Braves are the hat of the week. The Atlanta Braves secured the National League East title 4 years in a row. So now they got to play the Milwaukee Brewers on Thursday. So good job, Atlanta Braves. I have enjoyed watching this year, and the first half was nothing to write home about. Finishing at the All-Star break sub 500. They really rallied after the trade deadline. They made some really awesome trades that every one of them paid off. And anyway, if you're not a baseball person, I'm sorry, but this is an exciting time of year for me. Baseball, end of season and playoff baseball, and of course college football. College football, oh my goodness, there are teams losing that should not be losing. Of course, Ohio State lost to Oregon a couple weeks ago. Texas A&M lost to Arkansas last week. Texas A&M lost to Mississippi State yesterday. What in the world is going on? And then, of course, Clemson's had a couple of losses, and where they shouldn't have. And then, of course, LSU loses to Auburn last night. And that quarterback at Auburn, Bo Nix, man, he is a scrambler, I'll tell you. But it's amazing. The two rock solid, consistent teams at this time, both SEC teams, are Alabama and Georgia. But we will see how things go. Florida lost too. Florida should not have lost their game yesterday. So anyway, I don't want to get too far off on sports there, but that is crazy for sure. All right, let's see what we got here. This week in military history. Well, I just didn't take the time today to pull up anything. I do know one thing on this date, 1993, October 3rd, 1993, was, let me see if I have that pulled up here. Well, I thought I did, maybe. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, I thought I did. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah, I'll share that screen. But yeah, I just pulled up one item today for this week in military history. We'll share screen. And many of you will remember Black Hawk Down, Operation Gothic. Serpent was the operation. This was our effort in Mogadishu, Somalia, and the actions in that 18-hour or so engagement resulted in the, were chronicled in the movie Black Hawk Down. But you can see we lost, I guess it was about 16 men on this date. There were Night Stalkers, Rangers, a couple of Medal of Honor recipients there. Gary Gordon and Randy Shugart. And I just read, somebody can augment this, but I just read that some of the members that were involved, I think there were Rangers, some of the Rangers that were involved, after all these years later, have recently have been awarded the Silver Star. I didn't read the article on that, but anyway, October 3rd, 1993. Another engagement that often heroism arises out of bad decisions and all kind of factors. And it's, at the end of the day, it's the soldiers on the ground and the airmen in the air and the seamen at sea who are the ones that have to the guys on the ground, they can't blame someone else, right? They've got to step up and do their job. They don't they're not able to deflect. So even if somebody makes a mistake up the chain, you still got to do your job. But anyway, unfortunately, we lost, I think, about 16 that day. Sad operation for sure. All right. Well, let's see. Daryl says, okay, I got to add a couple here. Daryl says he thanked the son of one of our ladies at the service. Noticed that he had displayed a B-58. Okay. He was stationed at Bunker Hill, which was the first duty station after tech school, and I worked on B-58s. Awesome. Well, I'll add that one to the list. And I know, Daryl, you were at Bunker Hill when they, I think there was a B-58 crash there on the runway, if I recall. All right. Well, let's see. We'll move on to the Veteran Cemetery Challenge. And looks like we'll be done a little bit early tonight, making my way through here. But these are the visits I know of. We're about to hit a milestone in the Cemetery Challenge category. But I know that Daryl visited Jefferson Barracks and had a very great description. Daryl does a great job of describing. If you even if you didn't take any pictures, the way he describes it, you can sort of visualize it in your head. And he did so on his visit this week. So you can watch that on the Speaking of Zane Facebook group. And then Jimbo, hey, Jim, I think you're out there too. Jim is up in Omaha. Jim visited Omaha National. I've mentioned most weeks he goes right past Omaha National Cemetery on some of his regular runs, and stopped off and visit our fellow airman Todd Vanderwerken this week. So Jim, thank you for always remembering our buddy there. And let's see. Lori had one this week, an awesome one. Her and Karen, they were up, Karen lives in Chicago, and they did a little driving around, and they went and stopped in at Southern Wisconsin Veterans Memorial Cemetery. How about that? Southern Wisconsin Veterans Memorial Cemetery. It looked like an awesome cemetery. Let me show you. I'll share these couple of pictures that Lori took here. It's a nice one with all the flags there. I noticed the bench there, Lori. We need to keep on our Georgia National Cemetery to install a few more of those at our location. But wow, look at that! Just beautiful, beautiful time of year. They have a bell tower there as well. Nice one there. So it looks like they have a combination of above headstones and the flat markers as well. It looks like maybe they have a mixture. There, but that Lori got quite a few pics while they were there. Cornfield. Very nice. So that was a new one for us that I've since added to our map. Let me show our map here. So you can go click on each one of these pins and see where everyone's visited. This is I think this would be the one Lori just visited. So if I click on there, no, that's Fort Snelling. I'm sorry, I'm way off. There you go. So see, I've already added Southern Wisconsin. So you can click on the pin. I uploaded the picture, and I even said that Lori and Karen visited. So you can go to this map and you can click every one of those pins and see who visited that cemetery and when. And it is current now. I've added 2 cemeteries to it today. I visited. I was on the way to get Lori yesterday down at Atlanta Airport, and right on the way, I never realized how close it was, but it's only about 8 or 9 miles away. But it's right on the way. Is probably Atlanta's most notable cemetery. It's called Oakland, because it has all these oaks, and it didn't originally start out being called Oakland, but over the years they renamed it Oakland. It was first opened on 6 acres in 1850, pre-Civil War, and then it very quickly grew to like 48 acres, partially as a result of the Civil War. But very interesting cemetery, Oakland Cemetery. It's you can see the downtown skyline from it. It's on a hill in southeast Atlanta. At 1850, you would have been able to look down this hill over the city of Atlanta. Now you can still see the Atlanta skyline. It's not too far away, and it's more of it's as much of a public park as it is a cemetery. And from what I read, this was Victorian era, and in the Victorian era, in addition to the particular type of architecture, there was a trend that cemeteries were very ornate and meant to be visited, as if a park would be anyway. So they've maintained that there at the Oakland National Cemetery, which I have a picture of somewhere. I do here. I'll just have to scroll to it. You can go look at the Speaking of Zane Facebook group here. But there's the main entrance to it there. But anyway, it's broken down into maybe 6 or 8 different sections, including a potter's field. I don't know if you guys know what a potter's field is. You can look that up. Somebody probably knows it. I know, but somebody can probably put it in the chat there. But it's broken down into sections, including in the center, Confederate section. And in the Confederate section, there are 6,900, 3,000 of which are unknown Confederate soldiers. 6,900 Confederate soldiers. There also happens to be 15 or 16 Union soldiers buried there among them. There's 5 Confederate generals buried there in that section as well. But the cemetery is the final resting place for a lot of notable Atlantans over the years, as well as Gone with the Wind author Margaret Mitchell. She's buried there. Golfer, Toby will recognize this name, famous Atlanta golfer Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones is buried there. And then, of course, very famous singer Kenny Rogers. Kenny Rogers is buried there. Kenny passed not too many years ago. But just an interesting place. I'd heard of it before, but never took any time to research it very much. And I said, well, I'm going to be passing by on the way to the airport. I'll stop. And anyway, it was a good visit there. So I've added that one to our Veteran Cemetery Challenge. There's my Aunt Paula. Hey, Aunt Paula, how are you? Welcome back. We sure did enjoy your pictures from your cruise. You are back after 2 weeks on that wonderful trip. And even in your absence from Speaking of Zane, you were able to contribute several thank yous to our Thank a Vet Challenge, which we'll move on to here in a minute. So welcome back to you. Let's see. So that was the Veteran Cemetery Challenge. So we had 4 visits this week, 4 cemetery visits. 2 of those are new to our map. So I've added those. So we have made 491 visits, approaching 500. We're 491 visits that this group has made to 143 different cemeteries that have veterans. So it's very interesting little challenge we have going there, and I appreciate you guys participating along with us. All right, moving on to the Thank a Vet Challenge. And I'm going to add, so let's see, I need to add, what do I need to add? I need to add one for Daryl. I need to add one for Katie. Let's see. That was Daryl from church, so he was in Air Force. And then Katie thanked the Vietnam vet at the gas station. Awesome. Yep, I could hear it. I could hear a crotchety old Vietnam vet with his hat on. Thank you for your service. Yep. But awesome. So I'm going to update our figures on the fly. If you guys don't mind, give me just a second. All right, so let's see. I had 3 this week. I'm in the process of interviewing a whole bunch of people for a program that I lead here at the company. We're going to be starting a new group of people in January, and we're trying to settle on the right group of people. It just so happens that a number of them that have been interested that I've been interviewing have been veterans, which is great. And this past week, I had the opportunity to thank another Marine Corps vet and Air Force vet. And then Friday afternoon to Kroger, I thanked the Vietnam vet. He pretty much said the same thing, Katie. Yep. He was pretty quick and crisp. And then I know that our buddy Jim thanked 3 airmen on his trip over to Offutt Air Force Base this past week. And then Aunt Paula, I've got you down for an active duty soldier at the Frankfurt Airport. How about that? I've been through the Frankfurt Airport a number of times. And so I've got you down there. Ken had a good week with a Navy Vietnam vet, an Air Force Vietnam vet, and an Army vet. Good stuff there. And then Daryl, I've got you for your B-58 guy and Katie for your Vietnam vet. So that makes 12 thank yous this week for the group, remember we just reached this milestone of 1,000. Well, remember that just seemed like a couple weeks ago. We are at 1,072 thank yous since we started the whole shenanigans a couple of years ago. So thank you all for participating. I tell you what, it seems kind of trivial, but I honestly believe people appreciate being appreciated. I think people, even though some people are like, I don't need you to thank me, or it's kind of corny or whatever, but I tell you deep down, I think, especially, I think veterans that have a little distance between now and when they served, I think probably appreciate it more than most. And I don't know, it might sound corny and some people might say, but I'm going to keep doing it. I don't know about you guys. I'm going to keep telling veterans and service members that I appreciate what they're doing, because there are people that don't. But, like I was telling this group at work a couple of weeks ago when I hosted the listening tour, I said, hey, you can change the course of someone's life just by showing them that you give a damn. Man, wouldn't it be worth it just to, tell somebody thanks, lift their spirit, let them know somebody cares about them? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you guys for participating. We are at 1,072. I like it. All right, let's see. Yeah, Paula says, it's good to be back in the States. I tell you what, I've done a lot of traveling, of course, in and out of the military, and it always feels so good to be back on U.S. soil. It really does. I enjoy traveling. I know probably most of you here enjoy traveling, have enjoyed your travels. But there's nothing like traveling to make you appreciate home, that's for sure. And we are truly blessed in this country. I wish more people had the opportunity to see some of the rest of the world, because some people just take what we have for granted. Like, millions of people, didn't die for us to have this comfort that we have, and this opportunity that we have, and the freedom that we have. It came at a cost. You might have been born into it. You might have been born an American citizen, but my goodness, read some history and realize that it just didn't happen by chance. People died. People took it. It's just, it's amazing. And I just hope that, American history classes are teaching that, at least. I hope. I don't know. I just, well, your whole point of reference changes if you don't know how good you have it compared to the rest of the world. Why do you think so many people are trying to get here? But anyway, I'll get off the soapbox there. But I mean, goodness. Yeah, Dan, you're so right, Dan. I tell people it was my honor. Dan says, he never wants to be thanked. He wants to thank them for his chance to serve, and that's true. That's the way I look at it too. I mean, I mean, not everybody can serve. Not everybody can pass the medical. Not everybody can. The circumstances have to be right for people to serve, and I feel like it was a blessing. I mean, to serve. And Dan, you have a great perspective. I think there, it was an honor to serve. Mr. American Citizen, thank you for allowing me to serve. That's a great attitude. No doubt about it. Yes, Aunt Paula, I can hear John Denver singing that right now in my head. Tastes good to be back home again. Yep. Amen. It is a great country, I tell you, and I hope we can keep it. We're at a point where you just can't take for granted that it's always going to be as good as it is. I hope it is. I think there's enough people in the majority that want it to continue to be the best place on the planet, but there's some forces trying to tear away the foundation, I think. But anyway, I'm glad y'all are here. Great challenge updates this week. Thank you all for participating, and I know that it's genuine and heartfelt, and you guys do such a great job. Well, how about organizations? I'll have something to report today. I know Matt finished your miles, right? Matt was raising awareness and some dollars for Mission 22, and he completed his goal. What is it, 40 or 50 miles you ran, Matt? I don't remember. But well done to you. We talked about that last week, now that I recall. But there was another event that's been happening over the last few days here in Georgia, a run for the fallen. And it was a run to honor all the Georgia fallen. And there's an Army vet lives over in Savannah that's a friend of Hannah's. And on their journey, it was a 3-day. They were each person ran probably 50 miles or more in this route from Savannah over to Fort Benning, Georgia, where the National Infantry Museum is. I've not been there yet, and it's long overdue. It was not there when Zane went through basic, but I understand it is a world-class museum and the best of its kind. But anyway, so there's an organization, Run for the Fallen, here in Georgia, and they stopped every mile marker, and they called it a hero marker. And at every marker, they stopped and they honored Georgia veterans that have died in service to the country. And they would stop and do a brief little ceremony and say their names. And if there was a family member there in attendance, they would give them a flag and some other things, and then they would change shifts, and then another group would run the next mile between the mile markers. And they live streamed for a few hours today, and I watched most of it. Got a little heads up from Hannah that her friend Michael Neese was running from Savannah. He's a runner, and he was among the group here. But he made a point to honor Zane at I forget which road they were on, but it was on mile marker 149, and they had the little ceremony there. Actually, I recorded it. I'm going to post it on Speaking of Zane here in a little bit when we're done. But just touching that people would take the time, out of their lives to do this and remember those who have fallen in service to this country before serving or after. And he decided he wanted to honor Zane, much like our friend Aaron Bartle up in Michigan has done. But let me see if I've have that up here real quick. But I appreciate Michael doing that. And yeah, I don't have that right here, but yeah, I mean, he didn't have to do that, but wow, what a blessing to have him do that and to hear Zane's name. And he messaged me a little bit ago and said he wants to send me the placard and the flag. And I in turn asked him would he come and be a guest on Speaking of Zane sometime. So we'll look forward to hearing all about him. He is all about running, but he's all about honoring those who've served, especially the ones that we've lost. And he combines the two, much like our friend Aaron. And I want to hear his story. I don't know his whole story, but I'd love to have him on as a guest. So stay tuned for that. But I'll post that little clip here when we're done. But another great organization doing good stuff for people. You don't see, there's some organizations that have gotten national headline news over the last 18 months. You don't see them out here doing things for the fallen. You don't see them out here doing things for Gold Star families. You don't see them out here doing things for young service members, do you? All right. Well, Lori and I are heading down to Florida on October the 19th, and we're going to spend a week down there at My Warrior's Place. I cannot wait. I've told my team that I spend every day with. I've told them that I'm totally disconnecting for that whole week. They don't believe me, but it's true. I may not even take my laptop. I'm going to just totally disconnect. Well, I may take the laptop because I'm going to have to do Speaking of Zane from down there. On October 22nd, 23rd, 24th, I guess it would be. That would be from My Warrior's Place. So we'll do it from My Warrior's Place. Let's see. And then we're going to be doing the Veterans Day 5K like we did on November 6th. Anybody wants to run or walk on November 6th, let me know. And let's see. See if I've missed anything in the chat here. Yeah, Matt said he finished Tuesday, 50 miles. Awesome. Good job, Matt. All right. Let's see. We did in the heroes section. We did, and this is a shame right here. We lost 3 soldiers in 3 days at the same base committed suicide last week, Fort Drum, New York. 3 soldiers in 3 days. Just an absolute shame. And I did a little research. Military suicides this year are up. They're up again. They've been up for 3-4 years running now. We don't have 2021's figures, but 2020's figures for suicides in the military. This is active duty, guard, and reserve. Active duty, guard, and reserve. In the year 2020, 580 chose to take their lives. 580. That was up from 504 the year before. That's a 76 person increase in a year. And it's just hard for me to believe. Well, it's not hard for me to believe. When I look at some of the things that our senior military leaders are focusing on, it's not surprising because it's not suicide, or we wouldn't see an increase of 76 people taking their lives year over year. That's 580, and we're on pace to exceed that in 2021. It's pathetic, 580, and compare that to the 58 who have died as a result of COVID. That's a tragedy. 58 have died from COVID. 580, or a full 10 times as many, have died at their own hand. And you're telling me the military is spending an equal amount of time and energy and effort on suicide as they are on COVID? They're getting ready to kick people out for not taking shots. So I think they're focusing on the wrong thing, honestly, a lot of the wrong things. But anyway, it's a shame that many choose to end their own lives. But so, okay, well, I'll get off my soapbox there. I didn't get a chance today. Well, I didn't take a chance today. I was doing some other things, but I didn't pull any Facebook memories of Zane's. I like to go back and look at his Facebook postings, and he was funny guy, and it was you can kind of see trends along the way in his posts, as we all have. Life and everything impacts what we share with people, and it was easy to see some of those trends in Zane's posts. But all right, folks. Well, thank you guys so much. I tell you this every week, but I mean it. I tell it to you because I mean it. But it's really a blessing to have all of you join every week. And if you're not able to join, watch the recording on YouTube or Facebook, and just listen to us talk about Zane. They say a person dies twice. Once when they're take their last breath, and again, if their name is no longer spoken. And that was the impetus for speaking to Zane. So at least until the rest of my breath, I guess, we'll continue to say Zane's name, and a lot of other things that have grown out of this. It started out, maybe, speaking of Zane, might have started out a little bit selfishly on my part, as just a way to try to comfort myself or heal myself, and it's grown into other things, I think, that could help other people. And wow, what a nice natural byproduct of this, if that's true. And but thank you, folks, for joining us. We'll see you. Some of you I talk to regularly, so we'll talk throughout the week, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody again next Sunday night. For speaking to Zane, don't forget to tell a veteran thank you, and that you appreciate them. Check on your buddies. I tell you, you don't know what impact it might have to check on your buddy and see how they're doing. All right, folks. Well, have a great week, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week.